How do you take the constant shooting and exploding action of a first-person shooter and turn it into an interesting point-and-click adventure game? Well, we're going to find out as we take a quick peek at Telltale's Tales from the Borderlands.
Let's see here. Ooh. Oh my.
Borderlands is a series that's hit or miss for many people. Many enjoy its focus on co-op and referential humor, while others dislike its tedium and awkward driving mechanics. I, for one, am a big fan of the series and have enjoyed both Borderlands 1 and 2. So it was strange to hear that Telltale would be taking Gearbox's open-world FPS and turning it into a point-and-click adventure game. Sure, the Borderlands art style fits the art style of Telltale's previous titles, such as The Walking Dead and A Wolf Among Us, but neither of those series had been games before. So what did Telltale do? Well, they basically remade one of the previously mentioned titles, but in the Borderlands world. What I mean by this is if you've played The Walking Dead or A Wolf Among Us, you know exactly what to expect from Tales from the Borderlands. A point-and-click adventure game that's light on gameplay, heavy on story, and focuses around making decisions to change how different parts of the game play out. You would also know to expect that the game was being released episodically, so if you purchase the game now, you can only play episode 1 out of a total of 5 when everything is said and done. Tales from the Borderlands has you at the reins of two different people. Ryhs, a company man climbing the corporate ladder of Hyperion, and Fiona, a con artist from a place called Hollow Point who's just trying to keep her and her sister alive in the harsh alien Borderlands of Pandora. They both end up being literally tied together, and most of the story is told via flashback. Just like with Telltale's previous projects, the decisions you make can impact things that happen later on in the game's future. Unfortunately though, Tales from the Borderlands keeps these decisions to dialogue choices more than anything else. Both Ryhs and Fiona have to juggle how they react to their friends and cohorts as well as to each other, but decisions don't really seem to have that much of an impact on the outcome of the game. Sure, you can get some different dialogue here or there depending upon what you say, but just like previous Telltale games, you will always find yourself in the same situations, no matter which options you pick. This is the biggest issue with Tales from the Borderlands. It's formulaic. Even though it's a different story in a different world, it feels just like Telltale's world of The Walking Dead and A Wolf Among Us, if not a little bit less. I hesitate to really call Tales from the Borderlands a point-and-click adventure game at all, since it doesn't really play like one. There are only a few areas where you actually get to control your character and can explore around the world of Pandora, but you can't actually explore anything. All but small corridors are blocked off, and most of the game takes place in dialogue-heavy cutscenes. There's an inventory system, but you rarely use it. Ryhs only uses it once, and it's in an unavoidable scripted sequence. You never have to worry about inventory puzzles or any kind of puzzle for that matter. This makes the game feel like a watered-down choose-your-own-adventure game, where your adventure is already chosen for you, just the specifics are left for you to figure out. One thing that Tales from the Borderlands does do differently from Telltale's other titles is that it focuses a lot more on combat sequences. This makes sense, since Borderlands is a combat-heavy series, but I'm not sure how well it fits Telltale's formula. Combat sequences are played out via quick-time events, only some of which you have to actually participate in. In most of the combat sequences, players are given a fair amount of time to press whatever direction or click whatever button that they need to before the character you're playing as would be killed. But if you don't do anything before time runs out, the game will sometimes just do the correct action anyway, instead of giving you a failure state. It became kind of a game within a game for me, guessing which QuickTime events I actually have to do something in, and which ones will do it for me. Some QuickTime events will even give players a few options for what they want to do first, or which weapons they want to use in that combat sequence. But what you pick doesn't actually seem to have an impact on the sequence at all. As long as you follow the prompts, you will always come out on top. Due to this, the things you do really don't actually matter. Take this area for example. Here I was told I need to quickly find a way into this building before something happens, but I'm free to take as much time as I want to before doing anything without any consequence. There was only one time where I did something gameplay-wise actually felt like it affected the story, but on replaying that area and doing something different, I found out that the same story elements still happen, they just happen in a different way. This means that the only thing that you can do in the game to actually have an effect on what happens in the game is really all down to dialogue options. That's not necessarily a bad thing, of course, but it's kind of annoying since you have to sit through basically the same exact story anytime you want to replay a part of the game and pick a different dialogue option to maybe see something different. There's also a lack of skippable cutscenes, which means you'll have to rewatch the same thing and makes that very, very tedious very, very quickly. I can understand why Telltale didn't want you to be able to skip the cutscenes, since the game's story is pretty good. It's a great combination of Gearbox's humor and Telltale's drama. Every serious scene always has something funny to help balance it out, and every funny scene has something somewhat serious in it. The game is told via flashback, and the bickering between both Fiona and Ryhs as to what actually happened leads to some hilarious scenes. The scenes are only aided by the game's great voice acting. You got people like Troy Baker, Nolan North, and even Patrick Warburton thrown in there.
For the exact same reason why North is North. Why the handsome guy always gets the girl, and why every spaceship in the universe is shaped like a cock.
All of the actors feel like they enjoy the roles they have, and every one of them does a great job filling up the story of the game. I mean, Borderlands was never really all that serious or super in-depth when it comes to storytelling, and it's interesting to see Pandora so fleshed out. While the voice work is great, the same cannot be said about the animation. It's getting more and more obvious as time goes by that the engine Telltale uses for their games is aging rapidly, and Tales from the Borderlands really shows this off. Animations are both stiff and awkward, and the game has some serious lip sync issues. While Telltale did a great job recreating the Borderlands of Pandora, some areas feel flat and really empty. While textures on the characters look fine, textures on everything else around them are a lot worse, and stand out as being a lot worse. This really breaks the immersion for me when I'm trying to pay attention on what's happening in the story, but I can't help but look at the textures on a door or vehicle next to the character because it just doesn't fit. Overall, Telltale did a great job with Tales from the Borderlands. While it does have some issues here and there, the game's story makes up for just about everything in my opinion, and if you're a fan of story in your games, then you can't go wrong here. The game is currently released for PC, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, and Xbox One. Its pricing, however, is a little bit strange. On consoles, you can purchase Episode 1 for $4.99, and a Season Pass that will give you access to Episodes 2 through 5 as they're released for $14.99. On PC, however, you can only purchase the entire game for $24.99. With that $25 price tag, you get Episode 1 and the Season Pass all in one bundle. And this seems to be on par with Telltale's previous titles when it comes to the PC, although I do find it strange that they don't have a similar purchase system for both the PC and the consoles. It took me about 2 hours to get through Tales of the Borderlands Episode 1 once, and about another 2 hours to get through it a second time while choosing different options. Due to the game's great story and replayability, I feel that it is worth its $25 price tag. If you're a fan of Borderlands or of Telltale, definitely check it out. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for watching this quick peek of Tales from the Borderlands. Let me know what you think about the game or this video in the comment section. I'm MegapieMan, and I'll talk to you guys later. Sometimes literally try to drive over other opponents. On other tracks where there's traffic on the roads you're driving on, your opponents can drive through the traffic.